This is from Lost and Found, Money versus Riches, Chapter 9. The pin dropped after the introductory session. The very first verse that the guest lecturer quoted was Psalm chapter 24, verse 1. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. I immediately figured out why I suffered from anxiety attack. I was on a revenue split model with God. The first 10% was His, and the other 90% was mine. How I saved it, spent it, invested it, and so on was my business. Thank you very much. It was not that I had never heard what was said before, but it finally really sank in that everything I have belonged to God. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked will I leave this world. I was reminded that I am merely God's fund manager. What a relief that is. The 90% also belongs to God, and therefore every spending and saving decision is a spiritual one. God has promised to take care of all my needs, but not necessarily my wants, and let me tell you, that is the most comforting thought in the world. I had been so fearful of investing my hard-earned savings, with a chunk of it sitting in a US dollar cash account, earning nothing over the last few years thanks to low interest rates. Through the Crown Financial course, I was convicted that I had been the servant with one talent. Please refer to the parable of the talents in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. Paralyzed with inaction due to fear of loss. There is much to repent from my financial history, but praise be to God, I have now been set free by knowing the truth. John chapter 8, verses 31 to 32 says that if you hold on to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. From then on, I have had a progressive renewal in terms of my investment philosophy, increasingly seeing the need to generate greater returns, not so much for my own benefit, but for the ability to give freely to situations which Jesus would move my heart to extend a helping hand. My fear of mark-to-market swings has also gradually reduced, knowing that at the end of the day, it all belongs to God, and that He is Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides, recalling that He has never failed nor forsaken me all my life. There is nothing more flawed than my view of work over the last 24 years, that it is all about making money and getting recognition. I finally learned at the Crown class the proper perspective through which to see work. It is God's means of training our character, not a means of earning income. He takes care of our needs, not our earthly employer or our job per se. This refreshing perspective has enabled me to more fully view the workplace as a mission field instead of a battlefield, where God's principles matter infinitely more than Gordon Gekko's. In short, Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 to 25 says it best. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it has its foundation on the rock.